today about various kinds of fresh starts. For folks hard-pressed by debt, bankruptcy might be an option, but how do you know for sure? Believe it or not, some of the most successful business owners and even a president have been through bankruptcy. Here to demystify the concept, please welcome attorney and founder of Advantage Legal Group, Jonathan Smith. It's good to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So I did not know this. Henry Ford, Walt Disney, H.J. Heinz, Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, bankruptcy is actually good for society. It allows people to make mistakes and recover from them and move on. Without it, we wouldn't have the Ford Motor Company because, you know, Abraham Lincoln did several careers, one of which was he owned a general store that failed. Had he been in debtor's prison or something, he would have never been able to go into politics.
Hadn't thought about it that way.
Henry Ford was the second company that made it, not the first. He failed the first time. Same thing was true of Hershey's chocolate. Third try.
Thank God. I mean, what would have happened if they hadn't made it? Honestly, what would I eat? So today we're focusing on Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and I'm not really sure I know what the basic requirements are for this. So can you run through those?
Sure. Bankruptcy itself is a scary concept for most people, but in order to qualify for a Chapter 7, which is the one that most people would prefer to do, your income, they have income requirements, and the first is that if you're an individual, your income needs to be $52,384 or less, bright line, to qualify for a Chapter 7. That's gross income, so before taxes. Okay, and based on the last 6 months of income. For a couple, it's $65,802 currently, and that's for a couple with no dependents. For each dependent, you add about $9,000–$10,000. So a family of 4, you would be making about $84,000 gross to qualify for a Chapter 7. You know, that used to be 7 years you had to wait before filing 2 of them back to back. Now it's 8 years. That changed in 2005. Now that home values are rising, I have to ask whether or not people have equity in their homes,
because that counts.
Yeah, they want to make sure we can keep the home or at least know what's going to happen. So we do have equity, and also I often ask the amount of the unsecured debt, and the reason for that is I want to get a feel for, you know, whether you need to do a bankruptcy or whether something else might work for you.
Because you might be able to negotiate and not have to take this step. You know, people are afraid that they're going to lose everything. They feel a lot of shame if they have had, you know, a situation that results in needing bankruptcy. How do you kind of get people through that, and what do you tell them about what to expect on the other side?
Well, if they first of all qualify, the next question is, are we going to lose everything we own? And the answer to that is usually not. Most of my clients don't lose anything at all. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results, and everybody's situation is different and it depends on your individual circumstances, but it's very rare that we actually have anybody lose anything at all. We have a state homestead in Washington State that allows you to keep $125,000 in equity in the home. So if the home is worth $300,000 but you only owe, you know, $200, you know, we've got $125,000 that we can cover that, and so you don't lose the house. Now, most of my clients end up with the federal exemptions rather than the state exemptions because they're more generous for other aspects. You know, household goods and furnishings for an individual, we have $12,250 worth of household goods and furnishings for an individual and $24,500 for a couple. Jewelry, $1,550 and $3,100 for a single individual and a couple respectively. Tools of the trade, $2,300 and $4,600 for a couple. What does that mean? We're talking about equity. So if you, I mean, there's very few people that have $24,000 in home furnishings at garage sale values. We're not talking what you paid for it. We're talking what you would sell at a garage sale. And the jewelry is what a pawn shop would give you for it. And the same thing with tools of the trade.
So you really can keep a lot of these things that are, you know, vitally important to either continuing your career, or your wedding ring, or whatever it is that, you know, that you might really value. So if people contact you, first of all, how do they do that? And what would be the first step, the first things you would do?
Well, a lot of people, obviously, if you're being garnished, if they're suing you, if you're just drowning in debt, it's the first of the year, you want to get a fresh start, that's the obvious ones. But we have a lot of people that come in that are facing retirement, who are living from hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck, and have nothing in savings, and are 5–10 years away from retirement, and they're unable to save a dime. You know, the credit card companies aren't going to be there for you come retirement. You know, you got to look out for yourself. And if you can clear some of that out and start saving, then you're in a good position.
Then you have a chance, because it's too late when you don't have a paycheck anymore. How do we reach you?
Well, we give free consultations, so
Good.
please give us a call at 425-452-9797. Again, 425-452-9797, or go online to our website, AdvantageLegalGroup.com. That's
Jonathan, thank you.
AdvantageLegalGroup.com. Thank you.
Thanks very much. We'll post all that information online about Jonathan and Advantage Legal Group, including exactly how to reach them in case you didn't get that. We'll be right back. Thank you so much.